In 2022, our next guest leveraged rewards from his Capital One Spark Cash Plus card to write and publish his cookbook, which later became a 2023 James Beard Award nominee. Let's welcome Jorge Gaviria. I can't wait to hear about it. This is so exciting. Congratulations. But first, tell us about your company, Masienda, and its mission to reinvent the masa supply chain. And first, actually, what is masa?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you asking. So we're the better masa company, and I think the first question is, what is masa? So masa is a food that we all know and love. I'd say all of us know and love it, but maybe don't know it by name. So it's a corn dough, specifically the kind that makes up tortillas, tamales, pupusas, arepas. So it's really kind of like the staple of the Latin American diet.
How have you navigated running a business in the food industry during the past few challenging years, of course?
It's funny. It's actually been, I think, the most fun we've had in some ways because we are kind of naturally inclined to solve problems and pivot when we need to, and certainly get creative when we need to. But it certainly was scary in the beginning. We were a food service focused company back in 2020, right when the pandemic started to hit. And to have restaurants all across the world close and that business dry up immediately was a bit of of course, a scary moment. But luckily, we had a couple of other channels that we could kind of lean on and start to really nurture. And direct to consumer was one of them. We had an online store, and folks started to really purchase and stock up their pantries with our products. And the experience was wonderful that they took home and they were able to share that with friends and family, and we were able to grow by word of mouth for 2 years just on that basis alone.
Well, once again, congratulations, and tell us all how Capital One helped you get there.
Yeah, we have been using our rewards program, our rewards dollars, basically to fund innovation over the last several years. And so we really treat our rewards that we generate. Every purchase that we make gets 2% cash back. All of that goes to kind of this innovation fund, as we call it, within the team to fund calculated risks that we might not have otherwise been able to take. So really, as a small business, it's our kind of fundraising method in a way.
And what are some of the unique ways that you've leveraged your credit card rewards?
Back in 2019, we were able to leverage our rewards to build a piece of hardware, a mill specifically, which I know is a bit of a deep cut, but chefs and restaurants really needed that product to take the raw ingredient of corn and turn it into masa. You mentioned the cookbook that was nominated for a James Beard Award. That cookbooks get an advance. For any book gets an advance from a publisher, but it's not always enough to cover all of the expenses that you need to get that book to look as great as it can. And so we really needed those extra rewards to kind of bring that home, from obviously the production of the book itself to the marketing of it.
I'm so happy for you. If we do want some more information on this, where can we go though?
You can go to masienda.com and capitalone.com.
Awesome. Thank you again. And if you'd like to see this interview again, just head on over to our website at firstcoastliving.net.